I don't disagree with you with First Light looking kind of maybe not what we expected or underwhelming a little bit, and I think a lot of that maybe has to do with the whatever engine that they're using. It looks like Bond in a Hitman video game,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's like it's their engine.
There's a bit of like, oh yeah, you could tell they're making like an Uncharted-like thing, but we've seen the quality of a thing that's Uncharted,
Sure.
and so they're not
sure,
necessarily. It
sure.
doesn't feel like they're playing to the strengths that I know they have.
Something I think is just it's so funny to me again, and I'm gonna be a dickhead about it because I think somebody has to, right? I was watching Kind of Funny. They were looking, they seen the trailer and they were like, they had their reaction and they were like, man, I just can't put my finger on it, but something about this just isn't hidden, and it feels good. Like it sounds good on paper. IO working on James Bond, but this shit just looked like Hitman, and it's like, and I'm thinking to myself like, bro, that's exactly what I thought it was gonna be when they announced it. They've been making Hitman for the past like 10 years. If you're gonna do James Bond, you gotta give that shit to I'm not, of course you can't just give everything to Naughty Dog, but I mean give it to Crystal Dynamic. Give it to, I mean, Sony Ben, give it to Respawn. Like, I don't even like
I think they were
IO.
just missing like big set piece moments. Like people, they need like a big action moment, like similar to like the stunts in Mission Impossible. You know, they need like a running on top of a train or something, and they didn't show any of that.
And
They
it's
showed
not
like some explosions and stuff, and him driving a car. But yeah, I think we need to see like some gameplay of him doing action movie type stuff because that would give me more faith in it. You know,
yeah, but
that would help people like you believe that they can actually do it.
and that's something that like they talked about with on the Kind of Funny podcast too. They talked about like wanting to see a studio like a beloved studio or just like a studio that we all like get an IP that can allow them to elevate to the other level. And they brought up Insomniac as an example with Spider-Man. But I think the thing with Insomniac and Spider-Man is that, you know, we've seen we've seen what Insomniac can do, and Spider-Man just feels like such a great fit for them. I feel like with IO, it's like IO doesn't do set pieces. I'm going off of the most recent James Bond, like the Daniel Craig movies, right? From Casino Royale all the way to like No Time to Die, or I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Mhm.
So James Bond to me is about like progression and locations and moving, and like it's movement. I think some of the coolest shots that I can think of, the coolest like just like I'll run through the three of them real fast. In Casino Royale, there's that chase sequence, right? And they're like they go to like many different like locations through this whole like, you know, chase scene, set piece, whatever you want to call it. Just a lot of traversal. Then I think about Skyfall, the train scene where like they're fighting on the train, but then like he goes from the top of the train to the interior, and like he does a little like, you know, little like fix up his suit a little bit, and then he keeps walking, and it's like it's a lot of traversal there. And then like there's that one shot that I think is like, you know, pretty popular, where like you're seeing like he just got into like a fight in one building, and then he's like getting his like little like MP5 ready as he's like walking across from like one building to the next. It's like this one shot. They're not all seamless like that one shot, but it's a lot of like just flows from location to location. And when I think about IO, I think about Hitman, and you're going into like one set arena, and it's more about like how creative can you get in this sandbox, in this area, how creative can you be? And I think that's cool, but I don't think that that's 007. Like,
Well, I don't think we've seen enough to determine that, like, that's what they're gonna do, you know? It's we've seen, like, a cinematic trailer, that's about it. I think they could have shown more in the trailer, but I think we'll have to wait to see, you know, like, a level or something to see how they approach like, if they approach it with that style of gameplay.
mhm.
If it's not just, like, a sandbox setting, and if it's more like Bond moving through these areas and like a Hitman moving through certain areas. So
And
I don't know. I
I
think we
will
just have to see more of it.
I will say I am impressed that they even, it feels like, and I should have known this because of how like, especially like, you know, when this game was like in development or earlier in development, how like, you know, just the grip that the Bond, you know, the people that run that franchise have on the franchise. I should have known that they wouldn't let somebody just completely butcher it. But I was surprised from the trailer that it did feel like they're trying to make a Bond game. Like this is like, and I know that might sound crazy, but there are times where a studio gets an IP and they just kind of convert that IP into what they already do. I think of what's that guy's name? Is it Bithell? Shout out to him. He makes some
Mike
good games.
Bithell,
Yeah, yeah. Like it would like with the
Tron.
Tron, Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? Like if he gets a game, he's gonna make his style of game, which is cool, right? I kind of like I was afraid that IO was gonna do that because I don't really want to see that. I want to see more of like just from a direction standpoint, First Light does look like what I would want it to be. It does look like they're trying to do that, but then when it comes to just like the certain execution, I'm peeking through the blinds a little bit, and I'm looking at when I like him. I like when he threw the gun at the guy. That was cool. That felt very IO and also felt Bond. But there's like these little bits of like third person shooter gameplay that we've seen, like I think like on a rooftop, and then we've seen a little bit of like the driving, and it kind of looked like we're gonna get more gameplay real soon. I'm pretty sure, but it looked kind of rough. It looked kind of rough, and I know I'm not crazy because the kind of funny cast, they could see it too, bro. Like there's something, it's like you're getting like that little peek behind you. You're seeing a little bit of gameplay, and that little bit of gameplay is like, what are they, you know what I'm saying? Like we'll see. We'll see. I'm not, but I feel like this. I don't know. I'm done talking.
Yeah, I just want to see more of it, really. I, gameplay for sure. I think the next thing they need to show needs to be like a big gameplay showcase.
The IOI showcase already happened, so who knows when we're gonna see more Bond gameplay? What at the Game Awards? I'm assuming. Yeah. Well, darn. I don't feel good about that at all. But yeah, that's how I feel. I think that my prediction or how I feel, however you people want to look at it, I don't think that this game. I don't think they should have gave it to IOI. I'm sorry, and I don't say that to like. I'm saying that for the sake of the Bond franchise and for IOI because I like what kind of funny was saying about a game studio getting an IP and being able to like do more and get this bigger budget and just like elevate in a way. But I just feel like this might hurt IOI. I think like there's definitely a timeline where you give this game to a studio that doesn't really fit the franchise, and then people don't like the game, and then there's like a negative, like there's a backlash onto IOI.
You're
But
doing a lot of speculating here.
that's not speculation. That's barely, bro. They don't make games like the Bond franchise. Like it's not okay. We know how to acknowledge when there's a good fit for a franchise and a studio. Like we'll get to it with Tokon. We've seen it with Insomniac. Like we know when that happens in a good way. There that can happen in a bad way. There isn't just the there isn't just the good way of doing that. You can do that in a bad way. You can give a franchise to
I
a
just don't think we've seen enough to make that determination. Like,
oh yeah,
we've
I
seen a
don't know.
cinematic trailer.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I still have the same fear, and I feel like there's in the smallest bit of validation into that fear that I had when this game originally got announced. That's where I'm at. I hope for the best, but
yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see. I think we just need to see more. Yeah. I don't think. I think if anything, they needed to have a stronger showing of the game. That's the conclusion that I've come to. Like they didn't do anything to prove to us that they were the right ones for it. They needed to do something to stand out, which maybe they just didn't show that. And maybe it's not true, and something in the future will show that they were the right studio for that. But they just needed to have, I guess, they just needed to make a better first impression with their Bond game, and they didn't really do that. If anything, that's what they should have done. You want
Fingers
to talk about
crossed.
Pragmata?